Steave J was jailed, Lil Scrappy was hospitalized, and the cameras were still running. This wasn't just another love and hip-hop episode. It was a full-fledged war. Ask yourself, what kind of betrayal makes a man snap? It wasn't stage TV drama. It was real, raw, brutal, and the footage is being buried faster than Stevie's last. Hard, he ends up in an ambulance, while the other gets tossed in the back of a squad car while still screaming Bambi's name like a curse. Failed comeback. I'm referring to leaked text messages, explosive audio, and a backstage battle that was so intense that one employee compared it to watching Mike Tyson swing on Suge Knight in a broom closet. What started the year-long feud was the woman at the center and the icy betrayal that almost broke Scrappy's heart make you believe you've seen drama before. But you haven't, because what happened behind those studio doors is going to reveal the most repulsive truth reality TV has ever attempted to conceal. So don't just when you thought the drama between Lil Scrappy Bambi and Steave J had peaked, blink, don't scroll, because by the conclusion of this video, you'll be wondering who actually arranged this and why. This isn't just another reality TV meltdown though. Full-blown mayhem, complete with flashing lights, yelling fans, and a stretcher emerging from backstage, all occurred during a sold-out, private love and hip-hop reunion recording that was never meant to be heard by the general public. When fists flew, the cameras weren't rolling. Backstage tension has been building for weeks, but insiders are leaking everything, according to sources. Lil Scrappy, still emotionally damaged from the rupture with Bambi, went up as like he had something to prove, and let's just say that Steave J didn't show up. Insiders claim that Stevie entered the green room as if he owned the network, with a bottle in his hand, sunglasses on, and a sneer on his face. Security was on edge from the time these two eyes met, since they knew we all knew something was coming, but none anticipated it to be this explosive. Just before the main recording began, Mama D was shown pacing yellingly and screaming her hands in the air as she allegedly warned producers. I promise, if you let Bambi and Stevie be in the same room with my daughter, nobody paid attention. And now we have broken glass, felony charges, and an intensive care unit report that says contusions, internal bleeding, possible concussion. For God, I'm tearing this entire set down. But let's take a closer look at what actually happened. Why did Scrappy leave in an ambulance while Steave J departed in handcuffs? Who threw the first punch? It began backstage in the holding room, where Scrappy had just gotten agitated when Steave J walked in with two. Stevie loudly remarked, "I hope nobody in here is still crying over Bambi's OnlyFans because she made more money than y'all in a weekend," according to an eyewitness who described his unidentified industry associates as more like hired muscle than true guests. "You still talking after what you did, you a whole clown, Stevie?" Scrappy reportedly yelled as he got up and threw his phone on the couch. The room fell silent, and the production staff and security froze, began to approach. But Stevie didn't stop. He allegedly leaned down and said something that would never be recorded. At that point, Scrappy lunged, chairs flew. One of Stevie's guys was pushed into the wall so forcefully that a painting collapsed, and someone yelled for help. Scrappy had on his lip, and Steve was panting, gripping his ribs like something shattered. But the most outrageous part wasn't even that one of the producers shouted, "Cut the feed." By the time security arrived, it was too late. At the end, it was said that Stevie took a small silver switchblade out of his back pocket. That's right, it wasn't just for show. Security tackled him right away, and he crashed against a wall while still screaming and clutching his. When side paramedics arrived, they found Steave J detained on the stage and Scrappy placed onto a stretcher in front of a yelling crowd that was unaware that this was genuine. Word quickly spread, and by the time they got Scrappy to the emergency room, Jay-Z was already outside the hospital. In the meantime, Mama D was outside the police station holding an impromptu press conference as if she were campaigning for mayor. "I told the nurses that they had never seen so many camera flashes in the parking lot. Not even when Candy's cousin came in for that foot thing. My infant is currently lying up in a hospital bed, but it gets deeper than that. It turns out that this wasn't just about Bambi, clout, or even respect. It goes back to a nasty little secret that no one was meant to know. Steave J was reality's spin-off sans Scrappy. That's right, a brand new hip-hop and love project without Scrappy. Under the working title Bambi, the villain, and guess who was in charge of the pitch? Mona freaking Scott. Rumor has it that Scrappy learned about the program just a few days before the reunion taping, and he was so upset, deceived, and ashamed that he arrived. Everything blew up because he confronted Steave because he was attractive. But the worst part is that Scrappy's hospitalization may have been caused by more than just a fight. A leaked ER report purportedly supplied to a gossip blogger by a medical insider reveals strange drugs found. One unnamed crew member claims that Scrappy was acting strangely before Steave ever arrived, leading fans to speculate that he was drugged before the tape. We're talking about sedatives, large dosages, and other things that shouldn't be in his system unless someone gave it to him. If that's the case, this isn't just a fight, it's a setup, and Steave J isn't saying a thing. His team released a one-line statement in which he asserts his innocence and says he won't be speaking at this time, but the damage is done. Backstage is being handled like a crime scene. The whole hip-hop and love set is being investigated. Contracts are on pause, attorneys are swarming, and producers are trying to figure out how to spin this without getting sued. But you know who's leaving. Within hours of the news surfacing, Bambi took to Instagram Live to share a face beat filter while drinking white wine. She remarked, "All I'm going to say is that you only know half the story. And have faith in me." When the actual she closed the live stream with a wink and the words, "The season premiere is coming up, so you can't make this stuff up. T-Drop, stop acting so fresh." The comments are a disaster. "You set up a fight, lady. You're dirty for this first Steave." You guessed it, Steave J, the man who once declared, "I'll never need a lawyer, I don't do drama," recently engaged a top-tier entertainment lawyer with connections to the Kardashians. Okay, so now, speaking of legal teams, Scrappy's attorneys recently sent a cease and desist to Mona Scott's production firm, requesting that all unreleased footage of the fight be removed. He faces 2 criminal charges and could face a civil action if his attorneys proceed. Turned over instantly. Where does that leave hip-hop and love in ruins? But wait, we're only getting started. Next, we'll dissect the contracts, the purported backdoor agreements, the phony friendships, and the true cause of this feud's explosion on reunion night. You thought this poisonous train disaster couldn't get any dirtier, but then, out of nowhere, strangely leaked backstage security footage appeared, revealing a blur of turmoil, shoving, and what appeared to be Steave J lunging at someone before the camera cuts out. The video cuts to black just as fists fly, which is convenient, but we do know that security had to force open 3 locked dressing room doors to remove Lil Scrappy from Steave J, whose shirt was purportedly torn down the middle, exposing a cut lip and a bruised chest. Sources close to the production, by which we mean those prime makeup artists who listen in on everything, say that Scrappy wasn't even meant to be at that location after filming was finished. Nevertheless, as destiny or tragedy would have it, Bambi was filming a confessional 2 rooms down the hall with Steave J as a surprise guest star. That's right, Mona used one of her shady little producer ploys once more, introducing Steave as a narrative twist without revealing Scrappy. This person dude kicked through a prop wall, came onto the set, and said something like, "You guys are trying to play me like I'm weak, so I'll show you guys weak," as soon as he heard that man's words. And that's when people began yelling and producers flooded, saying, "Mona nowhere to be found." The actual commotion began. Typical unnamed security guards, whom we'll refer to as Rico for the time being, told us directly that we've seen fights, we've seen drinks thrown. But it man was battling like he had been betrayed in real life, not on reality TV. It was pure agony, but don't worry, Mona Scott Young wasn't going to let it go unnoticed. The cameras continued to roll, you better believe it. The video is reportedly being examined for legal ramifications in a vault, but knowing Mona, it will be repackaged, altered, and released in a mid-season trailer to boost the show's ratings. In the meantime, Lil Scrappy, who had to be taken to the hospital due to a dislocated shoulder and broken knuckles, reportedly passed out in the corridor due to a panic attack. Nurses, when he posted on the internet that Steave was ambushed, he was the victim he was trying to de-escalate. Escalate because how can a man covered in another man's appear to be a peacemaker? And old of the internet had a field day on Twitter where a user's altered image of Scrappy holding Bambi's baby went viral for 12 hours straight. The caption read, "I fought for this family." Others were far less understanding, accusing Scrappy of being immature, unstable, and violent. However, here's the truth. Nobody is innocent in this circus. Bambi, in the meantime, went live on Instagram with her best friend in the background, whispering, "Don't say too much every 5 seconds." "I tried to protect Scrappy, but you guys don't know the full of what he's done," she added, slipping between eyelash glue failures and phony tears. "Oh, whoa, what has he done? We want to know if there is another secret or scandal." Fans are now thinking that Bambi and Steive's connection is more than simply friendship. Could it be that they have been secretly working to remove Scrappy from the franchise? Perhaps more concerningly, an alleged insider leak from the editing room states that Bambi and Steave J spent more than an hour in Moma's office prior to filming that day, discussing contracts and exchanging papers. Scrappy was completely out of the loop, which is fishy. Let's talk about Mama Drew, who went nuclear, not just viral nuclear sis, because it looks like she walked right into a trap. The entire situation was set up like an episode of Survivor Love and Hip Hop Edition. Got on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even MySpace and started dragging Bambi, Steave, Mona, and even Scrappy himself. "I told everyone that they were snakes and that although my son isn't perfect, he didn't deserve this. They treated him like a pig at a BBQ. And you know that Mama D wasn't after finishing. She arrived in the hospital the following day with a boom mic and her own camera team. We're not joking when she says that she's creating a documentary series that will reveal the truth, one foamy buddy at a time." The first episode features the betrayal of Steave J by Judy and Jordan. However, despite all the drama, VH1 has been utterly silent, with no press releases or statements. But you can be sure that executives are on edge since litigation could be imminent and fans are threatening to boycott if this film is released. Is ever shown, this could be the last straw for Atlanta's hip-hop and love scene. And if you want to hear something even more outrageous, a petition petitioning the network to release the unedited fight footage went viral with 40,000 signatures. People want to see all the punches, shouting about the betrayal and the producers, who are apparently in complete panic mode, and removing editors from other shows in order to comb through the tape and figure out how in the world to spin this without losing their jobs. But the streets are talking social theories, analyses, and good old-fashioned mess are all over the media. Reddit posts include timelines, clip breakdowns, and even slowed down audio in which fans claim to hear Bambi say, "Get him out of here now." Could it be the smoking gun? The third phase is where everything really blows up. Court dates, leaked medical reports, and shocked witnesses. You haven't seen anything yet. And then the courtroom gates suddenly opened, revealing Steave J had just been released on bail. The drama has moved from the backstage area to the courthouse stage, and Lil Scrappy is still recovering from bruises and betrayal trauma. This isn't a Law and Order show, baby. This is love and hip-hop on the contract. The trial began with "We have leaks." Oh, do we have leaks? According to a legal assistant who most certainly shouldn't be speaking to the bloggers. The opening arguments were fiery, and Scrappy's side portrayed him as while Steave J's lawyers used the traditional "he's a family man," routine boy, please tactic. They even had the gall to call him a mentor to Scrappy. The man was emotionally manipulated, trapped, and ambushed by producers for ratings. Like the mentor in What Gaslighting Is, and then all of a sudden a witness appears wearing sunglasses, a trench coat, and Audacity Bambi, who appears to have walked off the set of a scandalous music video and into a messy federal indictment. However, what shocked everyone was, according to what she testified under oath, Mona's staff informed me that Steave J was being brought in to mix things up. I had no idea that Scrappy would be there that day, and if I had, I would have done something. But since we were already at odds, the man jumped. Threw drywall like a WWE wrestler over your anxiety. Let's not pretend, but what happened next were screenshots. And not just any screenshots. It will go viral, someone even remarked. Whoa! The judge in the courtroom startled, looked shaken, and started crying while Mama D was in the back row, fanning herself with the rhinestone, whispering while holding a Bible. Didn't I tell you all about the Jews? The judge then revealed the shocking information that he was directing an urgent assessment of production ethics translation. VH1 may be facing severe criticism for putting the actors in danger for the purpose of the television drama. But wait, it gets much more juicy. A few hours later, a nurse close to the family, a messy cousin with access, shared that Scrappy had not just a dislocated shoulder, but also a minor. The best part is that someone launched a Justice for Scrappy GoFundMe, which earned over $90,000 in 3 days. He has been diagnosed with acute betrayal stress disorder, in addition to psychological damage and concussions. Uncertain, but reports suggest Mama D is using money to hire a documentary team to reveal the machine causing the chaos. She says she has already contacted Netflix, and her sister believes she is Erin Brockovich, complete with wig and a purse full of receipts on the other side of Steave J. Went radio silent, erased all posts, unfollowed everyone, and some claim he vanished from town, while others say he's hiding out in a Miami hotel with Jolene for protection. That's a crossover we didn't want, but now is where the web of lies truly begins to come apart. We'll name the former VH1 intern Lola because that's what she posted on her TikTok handle. She released a 4-part series called The Truth about the Scrappy sit-up and baby, which included all of the text exchanges between producers over scheduling adjustments, as well as audio of Mona. I don't care if they fight, just keep the cameras rolling, they allegedly said. When hip-hop and cancel love went viral, people boycotted VH1 sponsors, and Mona Scott Young's name was being linked to them. Without warning, VH1 released a statement saying, "We take the safety of our cast very seriously and are currently reviewing internal policies. All allegations are being taken seriously. We have temporarily paused filming of Love. The streets of Atlanta are bustling with Scrappy fans planning rallies, and all 14 of Steave J's supporters are going crazy. And Hip Hop Atlanta, until further notice, has been momentarily paused. More like you guys were caught red-handed and are now rushing to save face." In the midst of all the speculation around deep state plots, Bambi shares a selfie with the message, "Unbothered, blessed, booked, sis. You might be booked for real in the legal system. Hold on though, because we're not finished yet." 3 competing networks are reportedly contacting Scrappy to do a tell-all special, according to a breaking story from a music business blog. BET is offering, Zeus is offering, and HBO Max is attempting to transform the courtroom drama into a limited series, featuring Scrappy as himself and Tay Diggs as Steave J. But the last straw was when Lil Scrappy released a diss track, yes, a full 3-minute Fury song called Backstage, Betrayal, and Honey, in which he spared no one from the acerbic caustic, and the internet is now referring to it as the most passionate verse in hip-hop and love history. And they're not wrong. Guess what it is? It was obviously directed at Bambi, and Stevie exploited me for the tale and attempted to write my demise. But I changed the screenplay and am now making money again. Reached number 4 on the iTunes hip-hop charts. The man's transformation from hospital bed to the Billboard charts in a week is famous. As for the future, we know that Mona Scott Young is preparing Bambi for 2 paid hosting gigs. Apparently, Steave J's passport might or might not have been flagged, and Mama D announced that she would be starting her own podcast, Throne Talk, Royal Family Secrets Unfiltered, Episode 1.